Hi, welcome to the PoliticAL update with me, Alexandra Acker-Lyons. It is Friday, August 15th. I pay attention to the political news so you don't have to. People have asked me for a little bit more context about these videos, so here it is. This is the advice I give to my millionaire and billionaire clients. You get it for free. They want me to share the information that I get because of the access and information I get because of how much money they give. And it helps people make better, more informed decisions about their giving, knowing what's going on so that you don't start to lose your mind with all of the news, and being able to kind of know some insidery stuff before it happens. So I decided to do this because Democrats are getting their ass kicked on YouTube, and thought that more information is better, put more out there, and they're fun. Okay, so this week, candidate news. The wonderful former Senator Sherrod Brown has decided to run again for the Senate in Ohio. He has not officially announced yet, but when he does, go give him some money. The ratings prognosticators immediately moved this race from solid Republican to lean Republican because he is such a strong candidate. Again, Sherrod lost in 2024. He could not overcome the Trump gap in Ohio. Has been a very strong candidate in hard election cycles in the past, and I think is the only Democrat who can really put Ohio in play. Also in Iowa, Josh Turek, a Paralympic athlete, announced for the Senate there. We have an abundance of candidates running in Iowa. There's also, as I've mentioned before, a great candidate for governor, two really competitive House races. Iowa's got a lot going on. One thing to know about the Iowa Senate race is that if no candidate gets 35% of the vote, which with 5 or 6 candidates running is increasingly unlikely, it goes to a party convention. And that might give an insider like Jackie Norris a leg up. So continuing to watch, really excited that both of these states are potentially in play. Got to expand the map. And I went to a Blue Dogs event today, this week. Met some folks like Jared Golden and Marie Gluestenkamp-Perez in person, who I had only ever kind of spoken to in passing. I also donated to Greg Cesar, who is the co-chair of the Progressive Caucus, and talked to my friends at the Progressive Change Campaign Committee, which works really closely with the Progressive Caucus. Big tent, different candidates are better fits for different districts. We should continue to support people who are exciting, support people who represent their districts, and just keep in mind that my little blue dot in Denver might be very different from where you live, and that's okay. And we are the big tent party, and primaries are a good thing, and they make for stronger candidates. Go team. Okay. Other political news, the big news of the week obviously continues to be the redistricting fight. California is moving forward. The maps may be released today, maybe released early next week. This is a must win. We have to win. It's an all hands on deck moment. We need everybody to donate, whether you're a billionaire or whether you can give $10. It all matters. You can go to stopelectionrigging.com to donate. And of course, Texas Governor Greg Abbott is now threatening to retaliate against California, retaliating against him, and redraw maps so that they can gain 10 seats. Good luck with that, buddy. Texas is not that red. Ohio has to redistrict because of a court ruling. Missouri is looking likely. Florida's talking about it. There are some Democratic states like Maryland that are talking about it. I think if all of this pans out, if both Texas and California are successful, Republicans might be able to gain like 5 or 6 seats. That is overcomable. Keep in mind they have a 2-vote margin right now. We can win 8 seats. I hate that we have to do this, but we do have to do this. This is not a normal moment. We have to fight back. And you can fight back tomorrow by going to a Trump takeover protest. You can go to fightthetrumptakeover.com and find a protest near you. Of course, the other news this week is the I Can See Russia from My House Summit, aka the Putin and Donald Trump Summit in Alaska to decide the future of Ukraine when Ukraine is not at the summit. Cool. I think this is just another kind of way for Trump to distract from the Epstein files, along with the DC takeover with troops in the streets and not in the streets that have the crime. They were just a couple of blocks away from where my sister lives and works. They're in Georgetown, which is like as fancy as it gets. He's threatening to do this in other cities. Stand up, fight back. We have to just keep calling attention to all of this, keep putting especially middle-aged white ladies' bodies on the line, get out there and protest. Okay, related to expanding the map, Elliot Morris, who has a wonderful Substack, I encourage you to subscribe, came out this week with something that he calls the WARP model about overperformers. So these are people like a Jared Golden or a Marie Gluesenkamp-Perez who overperform Democrats in their district, are able to win in a Trump district. But he found that it's not always just because you are perceived as a more moderate candidate in a swing seat that leads to overperformance. And so there's some really interesting data in here. I will put it in the show notes. Again, really encourage you to go subscribe, and goes back to this idea that the candidate really matters. And again, different people are better fits for different districts. Finally, in the 2008 has begun category, it's August, and so potential presidential candidates are kind of all over the place during recess, both geographically, they're on podcasts, they're on late night, they're doing all the things. So I finally sat down and added up, made a list of all of the people who have been mentioned as potential 2028 candidates. So senators: Ruben Gallego and Mark Kelly from Arizona, Chris Murphy from Connecticut, Cory Booker from New Jersey, Amy Klobuchar from Minnesota, Raphael Warnock from Georgia. Governors: J.B. Pritzker from Illinois, Gavin Newsom from California, Jared Polis from Colorado, Josh Green from Hawaii, Andy Beshear from Kentucky, Wes Moore from Maryland, Gretchen Whitmer from Michigan, Phil Murphy from New Jersey, Josh Shapiro from Pennsylvania, Tim Walz from Minnesota. Others: former Vice President Kamala Harris, former Secretary of Transportation Pete Buttigieg, former Commerce Secretary and Rhode Island Governor Gina Raimondo, Congressman Roy Khanna, Congresswoman AOC, former Congressman and White House Chief of Staff Rahm Emanuel. Outsiders: Stephen A. Smith, the ESPN guy, Mark Cuban, The Rock. This comes to 24 potential Democratic candidates. Who knows if The Rock would actually run as a Democrat? Sure. On the Republican side, J.D. Vance is kind of seen as the heir apparent. Trump has hinted at it. Marco Rubio and Kristi Noem, terrifying. Kristi Noem is terrifying. Have expressed interest in running. Virginia Governor Glenn Youngkin, Texas Governor Greg Abbott, Arkansas Governor and former White House Press Secretary Sarah Huckabee Sanders, Florida Governor Ron DeSantis, some Trump family members, maybe throw a Nikki Haley type in there. That's like 8, 9, or 10. So it's a lot of people. It's a lot of people running for president. I want us to stay focused on 2025, 2026, 2027. But 2028 has begun, and I'm looking forward to especially all these Democrats getting out there, making their case, talking about our values, and trying to break through. My shout out of the week goes to Taylor Swift. Heck yeah, girl. Thank you. We need some joy. New album dropping in October. If you have not yet, go watch her on the podcast with the Kelsey brothers and watch how Travis looks at her and supports her. It is so amazing. I love them. Yay. We need some happiness. Okay, it's the last week of summer in my house. My son goes back to school on Monday. I hope if you are still enjoying vacations or back to school shopping or whatever you're doing, that you're having fun. And I'll talk to you next week. Thanks.